Thank you. For more on this, we're joined by San Joaquin County District Attorney Tori Salazar, who is prosecuting this case. Great to have you with us this morning. Let's start with the criminal past of this suspect who's been arrested. What more can you tell us?
Good morning. Thank you for having us. I can't go into the history of his criminal past at this time. Part of the prosecution and part of the ethical duty and responsibility of the district attorney is to ensure that the case is tried in the courtroom and not in a public forum. So at this point, we're not going to be releasing that information, but we will have more as time develops.
Isn't much of that information, though, public if he'd been arrested?
It is public and it can be released, but it shouldn't be coming from the prosecution. So it's a tough line that we draw, but the courts have been very clear in their rulings in the ethics of a prosecutor is not to inflame the potential jury pool. So the information, like I said, will eventually be coming out and be released as we go through this journey. But at this point, we're still in the middle of an investigation and we have a great deal more of work to do. It's very fluid. So we're trying to contain the information to what is before us, what we're dealing with, and how we're going to process it.
All right, let's focus on the evidence then. What more can you tell us about what evidence you have and any potential motive in these killings?
What we're going to focus here in San Joaquin County is resolving each and every one of these cases, whether it's in our county or in another county. So we're looking across the state of California and the nation for any additional information that we can gather. We'll continue to work every angle of this case that we can. And we're continuing to get leads and tips every day. My office alone had 5 investigators that were working 200 tips a day. 500 tips a day were coming in from across the nation, and in particular, my community. And so I'm so grateful for that. That is what you want. This is a community-based problem. Crime is a community problem, and it was solved by community. It took a great partnership between law enforcement and our community members working collaboratively. We had Facebook groups, we had social media groups, we had everybody out looking for clues, information, and incentivizing people to come forward and help us solve this crime. Without them, it could have been a different story. So I think it's the new face of law enforcement is really using the community as that tool and resource to help solve crime. Every city, every county across the nation has cold cases, some in the hundreds, some in the thousands, plus pending cases that are occurring right now. We need the community and we want to keep them engaged and we want to empower them with the tools. So my office is, we're doing it, and we've done it in the past. We have a community engagement program where people come in and learn about criminal justice, how to prosecute a case, what a crime scene looks like, what a field evidence technician does. We need those tools and resources because law enforcement can't be everywhere. They do a great job, but they simply cannot be everywhere at all times. So it's going to take the community to resolve this.
Yeah, good policing and community tips is what the police officers said in forthcoming information about this arrest, which is incredible. How about charges? What do you expect?
We're going to release them tomorrow. The attorneys, I have 3 of the best attorneys in the state of California working on this case. They've been there since 1:30 a.m. on Friday when we were able to bring the suspect into custody, and they've been working nonstop. So the first rollout will be some charges, but there'll be more charges coming. We're just waiting for the evidence to be returned to us before we can charge all of the counts that we believe we have. But one thing I think that is important, and I think it's is ballistics. IBIS is the system that we use here in the state, and it allows us to check all ballistic evidence that we receive in any crime scene. And I think as a nation, we need to come together and we need to fund every city and county to make sure that they have IBIS capabilities and that it's mandatory reporting. Because once IBIS comes in, it can connect us to a gun. And it can tell us where that gun's been. And in this case, we were able to determine that that gun had been in Oakland back in April and then came into our community shortly thereafter. So we really need to build some stronger infrastructure within our nation to allow us to collect this critical evidence. And even with us here in San Joaquin County, we can't keep pace with the amount of IBIS that we're putting in. So we're looking to build a volunteer corps of retirees to come back and help us with the data and analysis of putting this information into the system and feeding it across the nation so that we can catch serial killers. They don't tend to stay in one area. They tend to move from place to place, knowing that that's a weakness that we have and that we're not always interconnected as well as we should be. So let's build that structure and let's limit this. We were able to bring a suspect, a serial killer, into custody within 90 days. That's pretty much unheard of. And that's a great reflection of the Stockton Police Department and this community for bringing those tools and resources together and finding this individual. But there's work to be done.
Yeah.
So we need to build a stronger infrastructure in our law enforcement so that they can be successful every day, all the time.
Yeah, ballistics are incredibly important. Charges expected tomorrow. We'll be watching for that. San Joaquin County District Attorney Tori Salazar. Glad to have you on this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.